I tossed the expired beef into the lawn, then stepped into the elevator and pressed the button for the 5th floor. But the elevator suddenly stopped on the 3rd floor. I quickly hid to the side, avoiding the woman. Seizing the moment while she looked down to search through her bag, I darted to the other side of the elevator and frantically hit the closed door button. The woman noticed a figure flash before her eyes, yet the elevator appeared empty. Puzzled, she moved forward to check. Just as she stepped inside, the doors finally shut. This wasn't my home, though it was an apartment I'd once rented. Since I'd kept a spare key, I'd been sneaking into the current resident's place regularly. I smoothly booted up the computer and altered a memo in the husband's phone reminding him to pick up his child at 5:30. Then a cry for help came from outside. I walked to the window and saw a large dog dead from eating the beef I'd thrown out. That dog next door always barked whenever I slipped in, so I'd poisoned it. That evening, after missing the pickup time, the husband argued fiercely with his wife. Angry, she drove off with their child, leaving him alone in the rain. Furious, he headed toward the bar across the street. Meanwhile, I was inside the bar, watching the scene unfold. Seeing him approach, I hurried into the restroom and peered out through a crack in the door. Unfortunately, after a long hesitation, he still resisted drinking, which disappointed me. But I didn't give up. This was only one part of my plan. Actually, I was a manager at an ad agency. I drove luxury cars, lived in a high-end apartment, and enjoyed a lavish lifestyle. But as I neared 40, a midlife crisis hit. A year later, I still had no income. To cover basic expenses, I had to move from my upscale apartment to a damp, gloomy old complex. With no other choice, I reached out to an old classmate for help. All he offered was an unpaid 3-month internship. After venting my frustration, I anxiously crouched to check if the car door was dented. That's when I noticed a spare key to my old luxury apartment under the seat. I drove over and found new occupants living there. Back home, staring at the key, a bold idea began to form. The next day, I returned to the building, entering through the underground parking garage. I took the elevator to the 5th floor, familiar with the route. As I pulled out the key to unlock the door, the neighbor's dog seemed to catch my scent and started barking loudly. I quickly slipped inside. Then I helped myself to food from the fridge, lounging freely on the sofa. Before leaving, I even used their bathroom. To maintain my high-quality lifestyle, I returned daily after the owners left. Over time, a more daring plan took shape. I looked into the owner's background and learned the husband had caused a car accident while drunk, injuring his wife and daughter. Since then, he attended nightly sobriety meetings. To figure out how they could afford such a luxurious apartment, I joined one of those meetings that evening, posing as a struggling drinker, and met the husband, Thomas. When I learned he was a vice president at a company, a devious idea sparked. The following day, I went back to the apartment building, first poisoning the neighbor's dog with the expired beef, then editing Thomas's memo about picking up his daughter from school. Sure enough, that night, he and his wife had a huge fight.